meeting of Monday, December the 13th. And if you'd like to join us for the Pledge of Allegiance, please stand at this time. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And if the clerk will please take the roll.
Councilmember Ashford?
Present.
Councilmember Lamb?
Here.
Oh, sorry, I got the wrong list here. Sorry. Let me start over.
Like I'm always first.
Sorry, Councilmember Archibald?
Here.
Councilmember Ashford?
She started over.
Yeah. Oh,
So you got to say here twice.
okay, present.
Councilmember Lamb?
Here.
Councilmember Moserak?
Here.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Here.
Councilmember Ruiz?
Here.
Mayor Rapp?
Here. You have before you the minutes from the regular meeting of November the 22nd. Is there a motion to receive and file?
So moved, Madam Chair. Support.
Council members are Ashford and Mayor Pro Tem Archibald. Is there any changes to the minutes? All those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Minutes will stand as submitted. Before we get into the agenda, resolution number 7 has been removed by the administration, so if you want to note that, that is no longer going to be dealt with tonight. And we will start with public hearings.
To hear comments from the community regarding future needs and improvements in our public parks and recreation facilities as part of the city's 5-year Parks and Recreation Plan.
Is there anyone in the audience that wishes to address the City Council on this public hearing this evening? If you do, please come forward and give us your name. Seeing no one, declare public hearing number 1 closed. We now move on to public comment. Public comment is the time if you would like to address the City Council either on an agenda item or anything under our jurisdiction, please come forward to the podium, give us your name, and you do have 4 minutes to speak.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Council, Mr. Freed. Scott Farquhar, 1039 Water Street. I just wanted to publicly, unfortunately, I didn't see the entire accident that happened across the river from my house. Saw it from the point of the car sinking, and I know there was some deaths in it. Moved as fast as I could, run across the bridge with life jackets, and I saw that the first responders were moving fast, and then the police were arriving, the ambulance turned to walk back home. But I watched the whole thing, and hats off to the first responders. They should be honored for how they responded and how fast, especially our fire department, which I know it's fairly new thing for us to have an emergency divers on the fire department. They saved, and I heard today that one of the children did pass, and I don't know if that's rumor, if that's true, but I know the mother did pass, but they saved at least 2 children that day by responding the way they did. And they acted so fast. In my 56 years, it was the most horrifying thing I've ever witnessed. Unfortunately, it was right across from my house. I had no choice but to watch because I had to keep people out of my driveway and everything else, but it was very terrible. Since then, being a water person like I am, and thank you to James also before I go. He called me that evening to see if I caught it on a camera. He was here at the command center. Everybody involved, just clockwork. You can't prepare yourself for that type of emergency. But since then, I've noticed something. Out walk my dog, and I actually put my boat in the water to double check my facts. From my house, which is at 10th and Water, to the Zebra Bar area, there is nowhere, if any one of us or anyone else fell in the Black River right now to get out. There are no no ladders. We do not want people swimming there. There are no re-rod welded in between along the seawall just for an emergency exit, and there's no boats in the water. So there's not a swim platform to go on to or anything like that. I believe it's that, you know, just some simple re-rod welded there and, you know, a little yellow spot on the cement, a couple of spots along. I mean, it could happen to any of us. Walking, you trip, you know, I got a new puppy, trips me all the time walking, you know. It puts the city, I believe, at some liability there, possibly. I don't know, I'm not a lawyer, but it doesn't matter who's responsible. We don't want to see anybody lose their life. So it's something that we should look into, I think. Be very inexpensive. We don't need to put ladders, just an emergency exit, you know. But I just wanted to, like I said, personally thank the fire department, police department, everybody involved. It was a terrible scene, and, you know, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your comments. We are indeed fortunate to have the dive team. Thank you. Is there anyone else who wishes to address the council?
City Council, good evening. My name is Jeff Smith. I'm the owner of All Star Services here in town. We have a couple of proposals on the agenda for this evening. We are seeking to purchase 2 pieces of property north of our building on Military Street. They are currently A1, and we'd like them changed to C1. We are planning to add on an 80 by 150 foot addition to our building. As a result of that being added on, we look to add on roughly 20 new employees within the next couple of years to our facility in currently, right now, we have more than adequate parking. I've got 60 parking spaces in our lot. We're going to add another 12 to 15 on, so we'll more than cover that. So we're asking for the approval in the first reading tonight to go through at the second reading in January and hopefully get this done so we can purchase that from Jerry Kramer. So thank you.
Thank you.
Evening, council members. Duncan Smith. I'm actually the president and COO at All Star. Jeff's son. And just to explain a bit more about why we want to expand on the building, we've had some growth in the last several years, minus the last year and a half of the pandemic. But you know, our building's become too small. We need some more space. We have a lot of potential coming forward in the next couple of years, and we're going to add jobs, and we want to add them here in St. Clair County and Port Huron. Our family has owned and operated a business in St. Clair since 1963, and we want to continue to do that here and continue to grow. Like I said, we're going to add volume, add jobs, and we want to do it in this area. So just want to make sure everyone kind of understood that. Any questions, Jeff and I will be able to answer.
Thank you very much.
Good evening. My name is Brian Larson, and I just became the recreational softball director for Port Huron. Nancy Windsor put out a bid, and I became the new director. We used to have a softball league called Port Huron Competitive Sports in our area, and it basically, when COVID hit, it couldn't continue. So I met with Nancy, and we came up with a new plan. We're going to create the Port Huron Athletic Association is what we're going to call it. We're bringing back softball to Port Huron to use the fields that we have. We're going to bring back the modified league, the co-ed league. We're going to bring back the women's league. We're also going to create a youth league. We're going to do a 10 and under and 12 under fast pitch for girls. We haven't done that in the past. I think it's something that we should tap into. Have a lot of talented teams in our area that travel out of the area to play, and we should have them here in town. I'm working with Nancy to get some of the pricing down so that we will have reduced fees for the leagues, and we will continue to use USA Softball and their liability insurance. We will be able to keep those fees down to bring the teams back that haven't been able to play in the past couple of years.
Very nice. Congratulations on your new position.
Thank you.
Very good.
Is there anyone else who wishes to address the City Council this evening under public audience? Seeing no one, I'll declare public audience closed, and we will move on to the consent agenda. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem Archibald. Is there support?
Support.
Councilmember Moserak. Take the vote.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford?
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Councilmember Moserak?
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Councilmember Ruiz?
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes. Items on the consent agenda. Adopted the 2022 Federal Poverty Income Guidelines and Policy for granting or denying poverty exemptions. Confirmed the city manager's reappointment of Dan Duman and Jason Hyde to the Water System Advisory Council with terms to expire December 10th, 2025. Authorized the purchase of 3113 John L. Portis Drive for $60,000 and gave the second reading and enactment of an ordinance to amend Chapter 34 offenses, Article 8 offenses involving minors, Section 34-352 of the Code of Ordinances for the purpose of revising curfews concerning minors. And we will now move to, from the city manager, item number 1.
Receive and file the annual comprehensive financial report for the year ended June 30th, 2021.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Support.
Councilmember Ashford, supported by Councilmember Pemberton, and I believe we do have a presentation tonight, is that correct?
Yes, correct.
There we go. Fantastic. Good evening, Mayor and members of the City Council. Very pleased to be here again tonight. My name is Lisa Planka. I'm a governmental audit partner with Plant Moran and have been honored to serve as the lead audit partner for the City of Port Huron for a number of years. With me tonight is Dana Delboy, who is a manager in our governmental audit practice, and she had the joy and honor of overseeing the day-to-day audit. Obviously it's a very comprehensive process, as your finance director, Ed Brennan, can attest to. So we're, again, very pleased tonight to be able to be here to, again, present the results of that audit process. You should have received a few different documents from us. And well, actually, the first one that I'll talk about isn't really from us. It's your annual comprehensive financial report for the year ended June 30, 2021, which, again, this evening we will not go through all 200 pages of that. And really, that, as part of the audit process, is compiled and drafted by your finance department. Our sole contribution to that document, besides auditing it and verifying the data in it, is to provide our audit opinion, which is at the front of the document. And once again this year, we, as a result of our audit process, have issued an unmodified opinion, which is a clean opinion, meaning that everything contained within the document is materially correct and is stated in accordance with all of the audit or the accounting standards that are applicable to governmental agencies as issued by the Governmental Accounting Standards Board, or GASB. So again, a clean opinion, and that is the level of assurance that you'd want to see from your auditors every year to remain in compliance with state law. So we're pleased to present that. What that doesn't really tell you, besides the numbers, or what that doesn't tell you, is what is the financial condition of the city. And so in a few minutes, Dana will go through some just high-level highlights of certain funds within the city and take a look at retiree health care and pension funding, since I know that's a topic we've had a lot of discussion about. And really, I'd say a highlight of 2021 is to see the progress made in the funding of the pension. And we know from retiree health perspective, there's been a new valuation recently issued that shows progress being made toward that. So we would definitely qualify that as positive movement forward. Certainly this year we also see kind of the continued stability of governmental revenue sources, which we see in many of our communities. You know, we've had a lot of ups and downs over the last several years, but it seems like those revenue sources in terms of property taxes and state shared revenue have seen some continued stability. This year also we saw the additional federal source revenue, which was also a positive to the city, but there's still time for that money to be spent. So we would say all in all a positive and a very solid and stable financial condition, which is important just since we know Certainly, there's a lot of uncertainty yet out there of where things, what's coming up next, and the city's in well positioned to be able to address future challenges as they come. The other document that we would have provided you that gives you an idea of how did the audit process go. So there's our end of audit communications, which are standard every year. That letter has 2 sections to it. The first one really is that overview of how was the audit process, and was there anything new or significant that you should be paying attention to, particularly in the audit. This year there was one new accounting standard that was implemented, referred to as GASB 84. I would say not a terribly impactful change to the financial statements, so I don't think that's one that'll catch your attention too much as you go through the financial statements, mainly some presentation matters. In terms of how the audit itself went, we were pleased to report in that letter that we were able to perform our audit in accordance with the plan, scope, and timing that we would have communicated at the beginning, meaning there were no big surprises that came up or anything unusual that happened in the course of our audit that delayed us significantly or caused us to increase testing in an area we weren't expecting. So again, that speaks to the condition of the books and records when we got started. We had no material audit adjustments that we discovered in the course of our audit, so we would say overall a smooth audit process, which again is a testament to your finance department and their ability to provide us with the information that we needed and it being in the condition that we would have expected when we got started. There's a separate letter that you received that was tucked into your financial report that was our report on internal controls. Which again, I think that one's fairly straightforward this year. There weren't any material weaknesses in internal control that we were required to report to you in writing. So that's an indication of I'd say, a good report on the processes and systems that are in place at the city. So that's another positive. One document you won't see yet that we would have oftentimes at this point is our audit specifically of the federal programs of the city. That actually is still ongoing as some of the federal funds are still issuing their guidance on the steps we need to do to audit that. So the good news is that isn't due by December 31st. And once that guidance is issued, we'll be able to wrap up that portion of the testing, and we'll have a separate report on that we will provide to the City Council for review. So I think that summarizes the overall, what you have received, how the audit process went, and now Dana will walk us through the slide presentation and just give some financial highlights.
Thank you, Lisa. All right, so as Lisa mentioned, these graphs are going to cover the annual comprehensive financial report at a higher level. The first few slides are going to just look at the general fund. So looking at general fund revenue, this captures the last 5 years, really the major revenue streams of the general fund. You'll see taxes make up majority, and that includes both income taxes and property taxes. 2019 was the first year for the police and fire and parks and rec millage, so you'll see a significant spike there. And then the increase from 2020 to 2021 was primarily just due to the increase in taxable value. The second highest revenue stream is federal and state sources, which is primarily related to grants as well as state shared revenue. So in fiscal year 2020, the city did receive some COVID grants, and the city was able to recognize minimal ARPA revenue in fiscal year 21, so that's why you just see a slight decrease in revenue there. Looking at the expenditures, public safety is by far the largest category here. As you can see, the different expenditure categories were fairly consistent, with majority of them having slight increases. Overall increase of 3% and total of $27.1 million of general fund expenditures in the current year. So this slide really combines the data from the last two slides of revenue and expenditures and compares to fund balance. So the revenue streams were consistent with expenditures, which I think really speaks to the city living within its means, and we encourage the city to continue to closely monitor these expenditures going forward as well. The bar across that hovers around the $5 million mark on this graph represents fund balance and has continued to gradually increase, which is great to see, and certainly trending in the right direction. So the purpose of this slide is really to capture how all of the city's fund balance is classified and shows the city's governmental funds, and the colors of the shaded bars represent the type of fund balance within those governmental funds. The two largest categories here are restricted and non-spendable. Majority of the non-spendable relates to the cemetery perpetual care endowment, and the current year increase that you see there is primarily just due to investment returns. And then the second largest category is restricted fund balance, and majority of this restricted fund balance is related to street maintenance and repairs, and the city will just want to continue to monitor these and make sure that you're using fund balance for its intended purpose. The unassigned fund balance represents approximately $5.4 million, which is all within the general fund and all resources that can be used throughout the city. And the line near the top shows expenditures, which we're at about $36 million at the end of the current fiscal year. So although there was an overall increase in fund balance, majority of that increase was in non-spendable and unassigned fund balance. Unrestricted fund balance remains stable, as we can see from this graph showing the last 3 years of data. So we know that pension and OPEB and overall legacy costs have been a large focus to the city, so we thought it'd be helpful to take a look at the strides that the city has made in this area. So on the left-hand side, looking at first the pension plan, I think it's important to note here also that the liability is measured as of 12/31, so you'll notice that along the bottom. The funding position of the plan drastically improved when pension bonds were issued. So the orange bar represents the net liability, which decreased from 76 million to about 14 million in the current year. So from a financial reporting perspective, this really shows the impact of issuing the debt and making those pre-funding contributions. And then along the right-hand side of this slide represents the Opeb plan, and you can see here the results related to the overall Opeb liability are fairly consistent from June 30th, 2020 to June 30th, 2021. But the assets held at MERS did increase about 8 million due to favorable investment results. So we know that the status of OPEB funding continues to be a focus of the city, and as Lisa mentioned, the city did just go through the process of receiving a new funding valuation that includes some recent modifications within the last few weeks. So this gives an outlook of what the next few years are anticipated to look like for pension contributions. This information, again, is as of 12/31/20, which is your most recent MERS valuation. And this was the first evaluation that took place after the issuance of the pension bonds. So obviously, you know, the pension bonds we can see helped alleviate costs from year to year. As you can see, the orange bars are the projected contributions. And in addition, the pension bonds helped with smoothing contributions, which has positive impacts to the budget process as well, because it is just, we can see more consistent instead of seeing those spikes as we've seen in previous years. I'm going to pass it back to Lisa to cover a few of the proprietary funds.
So just very briefly wanting to touch on the water fund and the wastewater fund, just given the significance of those operations. And I think as we've discussed in the past with the water and sewer funds or water and wastewater funds, They do use a different basis of accounting than how the general fund and special revenue funds, which use a much more, it's not cash basis, but it's more similarly aligned with a cash basis. It's your budgetary basis, where in the water and sewer fund, long-term items such as fixed assets, instead of being expensed when they're bought, they're capitalized and recognized over time as depreciation expense. And similarly, when bonds are issued, those aren't recognized as revenue or debt service expenses, they're put on the balance sheet. And so it does create, that is more akin to a corporate basis of accounting, where it's really looking at things on a long-term basis, which is important, but also important with this, in these funds, just given capital needs and wanting to make sure there's accurate or sufficient reserves. Important also to think about cash flows within those funds, and are the operations generating cash flows sufficient to cover the current outflows of expenses too. So that's what these graphs are intended to demonstrate, and really, again, just a reminder of those different bases of accounting. So when we look at these two funds, on the left-hand set of bars, it shows the full accrual basis, which is what's reported in the comprehensive financial report. And that's showing operating revenue that exceeds operating expenses in both of those funds. But when we look at it on more of a cash flow basis, we look at the water fund, and actually that was pretty much break even from a cash in and cash out perspective. And similarly on the wastewater fund, the operating revenues that came in were actually a bit less than what was actually paid out in cash for operating expenses and for capital outlay and debt service costs. So there isn't an underlying message here other than to make sure to be considering that when looking at the rates and charges of those funds, is thinking about both the short-term needs, but then thinking about the long-term needs, but also thinking about that short-term cash that comes in be sufficient to cover those expenses as they come due during the year. So again, both of these funds had revenue in excess of expenses and had an increase to their net assets as reported within the financial report, but do have deficits of net assets on an ongoing basis that should be considered as you're looking at rates and charges. So that really concludes our comments, our overall assessment of the audit, and a few financial highlights. So we're happy to entertain any questions that you have at this time.
Does anyone on council have any questions? It's a good report.
Thank you. Mira, I know you said this was a clean report, and nothing is ever really clean, you know, but is there anything that you know, any flags that you kind of like would like to verbally detail about the audit?
You know, I think, you know, with any audit, there are follow-up questions that we have throughout the course of the audit, but I'd say that was all as to be expected, and all of our questions were answered to our satisfaction. So really, I think we covered it all in our comments here. Some things just to be continuing the practices of looking out several years from a budgeting perspective, just given continued uncertainty in the world in general. But no, there really isn't anything that would have been left out from here that we'd feel the need to bring to your attention tonight.
Just wait 1 minute here. My notes here. We just got this, so I was trying to read it, and
Understood. And if there's questions that come up after you've had a chance to digest it, you're welcome to contact me at any time.
okay, well, I do have something that I want you to expound on, but before I get there, I'd like to thank you both, your company, because I saw 2 emails where you asked for our input if we saw anything that we were interested in to, you know, to help be more knowledgeable of what you wanted to ask. So I think that's very important, that inclusion bit, to include us in here. And I'd like to thank our financial person, you know, for the cooperation that we've given you, not just this year, but to where we are today.
Absolutely.
And given, you know, our millage, I know it's 5 years and everything, so that has really carried us to where we are, getting over that hoop. Is that a true statement? Oh, okay. And then you also have configured in this, both you and him, all the COVID money that's come in, that's all configured within this too.
It's all contained there. There are some things where, with grant money, if money is received in advance before expenditures have been made, it isn't recognized as revenue until those expenditures happen, but everything is accounted for within the financial report.
Okay, so it's all copacetic.
Yes.
And then also, you mentioned we don't have the federal, those things in there yet, but do you, I know you don't have a crystal ball, but do you project that to have any significance to what you're presenting us tonight?
That I actually can't answer at this point, since we've
Yeah.
not been able to audit the
Right.
particular major program, because we do have to get that guidance from the federal granting agencies on how to approach our testing. So once we have that, we'll get into the testing and report back to you on that. But I really can't answer.
No, I didn't want the details.
Yeah,
but just as a rule of thumb, I mean, if something's going to be put in something, there is something going to go either way. So there is something that's going to change, so correct.
So the purpose of the federal, it's called a single audit. So the purpose of that is looking at compliance with the regulations of the grants.
Oh, okay.
So once we have that guidance, we'll be able to test the city's compliance with the regulations of the grant, and then we'll report back to you on if there were any instances of non-compliance or concerns that come up with how it was administered.
Oh, okay. And I wanted to commend you on your presentation. You did a good job, and the graph does show that the city, we have, actually, we've come a long way from where we were, a very long way.
Yes.
And you also said that we can't relax because we're right here. I read that in your report. We still have to maintain. Just because you're here today with this big amount, there is something in the future that may change that.
Absolutely.
That we can go that way, especially dealing with the legacy costs and all that in here. So that is still critical.
Yes,
So I just want to make that point.
absolutely.
All right.
Yep.
Thank you, ladies.
You're welcome.
Go, girl. Did a good job. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Is there anyone on council, anybody else who would like to make any comments?
Madam Mayor, if I could, I just want to say that this audit represents, and this is not hyperbole, this is the greatest financial turnaround in the state of Michigan's history, next to Detroit. We out-benchmark them, and we didn't have to use bankruptcy. And that's just the honest to God truth. They'll write textbooks about what we've done here in public policy classes for the next 10 years. The fact that we were able to secure our pensions, that the timing was almost amazing. We're now over 91% funded. This does not even include the $28 million in retiree health care savings that we've realized that will be in the next audit. So our position is almost $100 million differential in our position, providing stabilized payments going forward. If you look at that graph about the future projections of unfunded liabilities, if you tripled that number, that's what we would have paid in the next year, in the year after. And that's money we didn't have. That's money that would have come in degraded services to our citizens, whether it be degraded investment, degraded public safety. It is just remarkable what has been done. I thank Ed for his hard work from the second day on the job when he came in and told me the sky was falling, and the third and fourth, and for 6 years we told a very bold narrative when no one else did. The mayor and council trusted Ed and I when we told you these things. The citizens of Port Huron trusted us and believed in us when they voted for a public safety millage, which allowed us to protect city services. And then our employees and our retirees worked with us, and we collaborated and negotiated 6 brand new contracts, which allows us to close the pension system, deploy a 401k style retirement system that they have in the private sector, and then to refinance out our debt, literally creating $68 million in savings to the citizens of Port Huron. So it's more than $100 million in the savings off the balance sheet. It's just, there's a time to be humble, but it's not right now. It's pretty impressive what we've done.
It's remarkable.
So yeah, it's pretty impressive what we've done, and Ed's speaking fee is going up across the state. So,
Yes.
thank you.
And high demand. Thank you.
Any other comments, questions? I don't think so, so thank you very much.
Okay. Thank
Good
you
job.
so much. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Good night.
And thank you, Ed, and your department for everything you do. And we will take the vote.
Councilmember Ashford?
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Councilmember Mosherek?
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Councilmember Ruiz?
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes, item 2, please.
Receive and file the quarterly financial report for the 3-month period ending September 30th, 2021.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Support?
Mayor Pro Tem Archibald, supported by Councilmember Mosherek. Anyone have any questions on the 3-month report?
Madam Mayor and Council, on target, under budget.
Like we like it. There's no questions, we will take the vote.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Councilmember Mosherek?
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Councilmember Ruiz?
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford?
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes, item 3, please.
Accepting the quote from Valley City Sign in the amount of $48,184 for the creation and installation of 3 new gateway signs for the city of Port Huron to be installed at multiple locations.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Support.
Councilmember Pemberton, supported by Councilmember Ashford. Is there any questions? Do you have the drawings for that?
Yes, Bruce, are you able to throw that up on the big screen, if possible? If not, we'll have it down here, it should be in your packet. Madam Mayor and Council, we live in the greatest city in all the United States. We have the greatest residents. We are the envy of the world. We are the end of the rainbow.
Yeah, okay.
However, when you pull into Port Huron, there is nothing that indicates that you have just arrived at the greatest city in America. There is nothing really at our entry points that looks professional and looks modern. And so Valley City Signs is one of the leader in designing signs for both private sector and public sector. They also have done numerous work with other cities, and so I've worked with them on the west side of the state. So we engage them and their design consultants to design entry signs. These will be placed at the end of 94. So when you get off at the greatest city in America, it'll actually show you a nice welcome to Port Huron sign, and that one will actually have an arrow that will say downtown, because right now there's really nothing that points to where downtown is when you get off the highway. I'm working with the township to have a location, which would be where Coppinger Motors is. So when you're coming from Fort Gratiot into Port Huron down M25, right there before you hit the Black River Canal, we'll put up one of the locations there. The other one will be on Military Street by the scenic turnout when you come northbound. So whichever way you come into the city, you should be able to have a nice welcome to Port Huron sign. I believe you have a rendering in your rendering in your packet. This will be $48,000. We will receive $8,000 from the CVB. We put the tagline on 2 of the signs, or on all the signs, very small, Michigan's Thumb Coast. Apparently that's the new branding campaign. For $8,000 we can tack it on. So that will reduce our cost to $40,000. We are working with MDOT on where it will go on by the end of 94. When they do the plaza project, we will have to move it, but the good news is this is a single unit. It just picks up and you can move it. So if we ever have to move these or they get damaged, they're one single unit. My goal is to have these up before summer. It's been my biggest pet peeve. When you drive to town, everyone's got these nice welcome signs but us.
No, they're very nice, and I know he's looking to put them up there, so even if it ends up being late
Yeah.
or past the matter, you'll get, I think we're almost there. I can see it flipping through, so we'll be patient here a little bit. Oh, here we go. It's nice to be able to see them anyways.
Look at that.
There you go. Do we all turn around?
There you go. So they will be lit. They'll be LED lit. They have the bridge component, the city seal on it. They will be LED lit. That one's the one that's getting off 94, so say like historic downtown with an arrow. The other ones won't have that the downtown portion on it. But it's a small thing, but I really think when people come to the greatest city in America, they should know they've arrived.
So they all will look like this with the
Yes, all
exception of the
similar
arrow?
brand. Yep.
Okay.
And we try to keep the same motif of our already wayfinding sign we have throughout the city, so the color scheme matches the wayfinding sign we already have.
And that was my next question, the consistency, because we don't want different signs here and different one there, so it would be some kind of normality coming in here. And so those other things that we got standing up there, they're going to be removed?
No, not right off the bat.
Not-
No, because there's a lot of civic organizations on there, some history to it, so.
Oh, no, not those, the other.
Oh, the
so
green,
that- yeah,
the green
so-
MDOT signs, yeah, those
Yeah,
can come
tell
down.
me, they're going
Yeah.
to be removed,
Those can
yeah.
come down, yep.
Okay.
All right, any questions from anyone about the signs?
Good job.
Very nice.
This is the same group that is doing the downtown wayfinding sign, so we're trying to make consistency through our branding throughout the entire city.
Right.
Mayor Rapp,
Yes.
are we assured that this will eliminate city manager's pet peeve?
Yes, this is for this one.
I'm sure you'll find
It's
it.
literally a rusted green MDOT sign that says Port Huron when you've arrived. You go to Cadillac, you go to Bay City, you know you've arrived, and we're far superior cities in those.
It will look very nice. With that, we'll take a vote.
Councilmember Mosher,
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton,
Yes.
Councilmember Ruiz,
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald,
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford,
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb,
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes, item 4.
Accepting the bid from Serve Ice Refrigeration Incorporation in the amount of $114,788 for the purchase of a train chiller for the McMorran Place Plaza Ice Rink.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Support.
Mayor Pro Tem Archibald, supported by Councilmember Ashford. And perhaps as well as speak to this, could you give a little update on the progress of the plaza?
Yeah, so this is for the outdoor ice rink. This is part of the McMorran Plaza project, so this was a planned item. We're anticipating it. We'll have, the ice rink won't go up this year, but it will go up by next winter. The plaza is probably 90% complete. The fence blew over, so you could get a good look of it tonight. We're missing some key features, though. So you're voting on, the next item is actually some pieces for the splash pad. So when you go by the amenities, the plaza's there, the concrete's in, but the amenities are not in. So when people drive by, they need to know that this is an incomplete project, that the fire pit, the lighting, the splash pad amenities, all the really the icing on the cake isn't out there yet.
Right.
And so hopefully over the next couple weeks we can get those. Our LED lights, I believe, are somewhere in San Francisco Bay in a nice boat. So our supplies and a lot of stuff is kind of just like everyone else is trying to get their stuff. It's a little bit back ordered, but the fire pit for the outdoor beer garden and patio will be put in the spring. So all those amenities that really make it great. So really when people drive by, they must know that this is not a finished product, that we're waiting for all the amenities and the things that really make it dazzle. I will say it is looking good though. In the next week we should have the turf in, and that really should change the look of the property.
Thank you. Is there any questions from anyone on council?
Yeah, I see this is from the McMorran Fund, so that's within budget.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Mayor Rapp,
Yes. Mayor Pro Tem Archibald.
Just, do we have any history on, since we only had the one bid on the company that bid this on Serve Ice Refrigeration?
Mayor Rep, Council, we only had one bid because it's kind of, we went with the mat instead, which is a little bit different product than the underground, and we did that for a couple reasons. Obviously, we were trying to bring costs down, as you remember, and also, and so there's just not a lot of companies that make this type of mat. The good news with this type of mat coolant also is that if down the road, you know, when we're all retired on a beach somewhere, someone wants to put it somewhere, they can, because it is portable. So that's the good news. So to answer your question, though, it's just a different type of product that not a lot of places have. So we were very fortunate to get the one bid because refrigerant has been difficult to get, is my understanding.
Thank you.
Hopefully
I'll
answers
just
that.
stay down here.
But
Stay down here for the next few.
Anyone else have any other questions on this one for Nancy? And then we'll move after this one to the next one, but nope. Okay, we'll take the vote on this item.
Councilmember Pemberton,
Yes.
Councilmember Ruiz,
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald,
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford,
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb,
Yes.
Councilmember Mosher,
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes, item 5.
Accepting the proposal from Panchera LLC in the amount of $97,573.50 for the purchase of splash pad equipment for the McMorran Place Plaza.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Support.
Councilmember Lamb and supported by Councilmember Ashford. Did you want to maybe talk about the splash pad? You're sitting there. So,
Mayor Rep, City Council, this, as James has said, was part of the original contract. We had to pull the splash pad pieces out because we were having trouble with the other company and it was actually holding up construction for a while, so we were able to make the switch to Ventura. The good news is it's a small contract for government, and they were able to finagle it for us pretty quickly. We had like about a month delay because of this originally, but this company was able to kind of help us out pretty quickly. So it's a company that we've used before at Lakeside, so we were very fortunate that they were able to fit within the confines of what we're doing. So
very good.
hopefully that helps.
Question, Mayor?
Yes.
It says here, excuse me, James doing this coughing over here, but it says that this is going to be grant funding and donors, private donors?
Yeah, it's part of the full project.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So,
and we got a deduct on the other end to, it's a little bit more than the other one was, but at that point we weren't getting it, so we were going to lose more money in the long run. So.
Oh, okay, that's why I was asking. And so, and knowing you, Nancy, you probably already got that identified and lined up, correct?
Yeah, we'll have a list of all the changes at the end of the project.
Yeah.
We just needed to get this equipment.
Right, you got a good track record, so,
Yep.
okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We will take the vote.
Councilmember Ruiz?
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford?
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Councilmember Mosherak?
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Mayor Rapp?
Yes, item 6, please.
Accepting the bid from Rolling Video Games in the amount of $59,216 for a professional mobile gaming trailer for use with the Marks and Recs program in conjunction with the Port Huron Area School District.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Support.
Councilmember Ashford, supported by Councilmember Pemberton, and I do believe that Nancy has a little presentation, don't you?
Yes.
Thank you.
Mayor Rep and Councilman. So at Port Huron Rec, as you know, we're always looking for ways to partner to help kids and families. And we had heard, some of the challenges that the school district and the kids in our school district are having after COVID with keeping up with tutoring, with keeping up with classes. And so we've been kind of looking to see what some ways that we can help in the process. And we wanted to help be that hook, the hook to get kids to want to come for tutoring after school. And I'm the principal of PH here talking in a minute, but we wanted to help with that process. So we were trying to think, what are some ways to keep kids engaged, keep them after school, and one of the ways was for us to provide recreation opportunities. So the gaming trailer with the donation from the Stebbins Foundation, we've also got some other people in line looking for incentives, so everyone keep your eyes open for, I know we talked about, gift card ideas or food after school and different things like that, and using Port Huron High as a model. So I do have the principal here from PH, and I'm going to have him say a couple words of some of the challenges that they've been facing.
Sure. Thank you, Nancy. I appreciate it. My name is Mike Palmer. I'm the principal of Port Huron High. I'm also a parent of 2 at Port Huron High, so it's good to see so many colors tonight. Thank you.
Fight on to victory.
I first want to start off and also thank the council, too. We've also had a relationship with the city of Port Huron with our school resource officer program. And it's been very positive. So having the opportunity to work with Nancy for something like this is really, it's great for us and it's great for our students. Port Huron High services a large majority of students and residents in Port Huron. In the past 2 years have been challenging. COVID, the effects of COVID, the effects of virtual learning, hybrid learning, and really not seeing kids on a day-to-day basis has had a negative effect on students and learning. And one of the things that we want to do is to provide more opportunities. We want to motivate kids to come to school. We want to motivate kids to be engaged in learning. And ultimately, we need to motivate kids to get credits and graduate and be productive members of our community, which is our goal at Port Huron High. So this opportunity came, and we certainly want to work together to try to overall improve the lives of our kids. So we're pretty excited for that.
Okay. Absolutely. Thank you. Anybody have questions for either one of them?
Mayor, I don't have a question, but I just think this is it just gives me a warm feeling to know our kids need all the help we can give them. And for the city to be in a position, Nancy, you to partnership with our Port Huron Area School District. I mean, this is many of the things that we do that you already mentioned that you've done, but this is just phenomenal. You just can't go wrong. It's just a win-win all the way around, and especially for our youth. In any way that, not as a councilman, just as a person, period, that I can help, but, I'm all in. Because when I saw it on the agenda, I had to smile. I said, well, way to go. Here is a trailer, So we just have to catch them, however we can. And nowadays, it's just we have to be more creative and inventive and not in meeting them where they are, but still maintain a sense of respect and the goal in which we're trying to reach. We need to keep that in mind, our eye on the prize, and that's getting them to be the best they can be and successful as being a part of society. So I just think this is great.
We appreciate that. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Great collaboration. Is there any other questions? If not, we'll
Just
take...
a comment, just to
go
say
ahead.
basically the same thing, just the communication between, and the fact that the city can help our school district, and that is one of the biggest challenges I think they have in the last couple of years, is making sure we play catch-up somewhere along the line. There is no way that we don't have to face that somewhere down the line.
Right.
And I'm going to jump from this subject for a brief moment. I just can't help myself. And that is Mr. Palmer, I found one day walking down by Memorial Park, and it was a hot day, and his tie was loosened up a little bit. And he said, Mike, can I give you a ride? I was just driving by. I said, that's Mike Palmer. I haven't seen him in a long, long time. And he said, no, I'm knocking on doors. And he's walking around the neighborhood, knocking on doors. And I said, well, why are you doing this? There's no millage issue going on or anything else like that. He said, no, we're having a dance. Forgive me, Mike, what dance was so significant?
We were having our homecoming dance.
Homecoming dance.
This year we were doing it outside of Memorial. With COVID, we really wanted to offer the students the opportunity to have some normalcy and to have that. But we were a little worried about the noise that was going to be on the neighborhood. And so we just
But he was hitting all of the neighborhoods, knocking on doors. Hi, I'm Mike Palmer. I'm from Port Huron High. You might hear some things going on. And I thought, of all things, we needed to have something solid for those kids at that age and not miss out on all the activities they've missed out in the past. And here's Mike Palmer doing this the old-fashioned way and just saying, just going to forewarn you, you're going to hear some noise. And he told me, I asked him, how did it go? And he said, 700 kids there. And he said,
Wow.
He just couldn't stop gushing about what a great night it was for the kids.
Nice.
I don't say that because his boss is sitting over here, but I will tell you this, from experience, I know Mike Palmer is one of our best. He is.
Yeah.
That's a great job. Great job. We will take the vote.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford?
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Councilmember Mosherek?
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Councilmember Ruiz?
Yes.
Mayor Rep?
Yes, item 7.
Accepting the quote from Thermo Scientific Portable Analytical Instruments Incorporated in the amount of $30,835.99 for the purchase of a TrueNarc handheld narcotic analyzer for use by the police department.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Support.
Mayor Pro Tem Archibald, supported by Councilmember Mosherek.
Madam Mayor and Council, we currently do not have this capability in-house. We're relying on other agencies. Right now, if I were to arrest Pauline for heroin and I wanted to arraign her in the morning, I would need a positive field test before we could do that. So we rely on going up to the bridge and using theirs, but theirs oftentimes is down and not working and unreliable. We would have to take one of our DTF agents off the field to come back and test. And so this will allow us to have this testing capability in-house so that we can process and get these people in before a judge as quick as possible. I want to thank St. Clair County Prosecutor Mike Wendling for his collaboration on this. It's quite a large grant that he will be giving us, as well as from the Byrne grant as well. So it's good collaboration and good partnership with our county prosecutor.
Very good. Any questions? We will take the vote.
Councilmember Ashford?
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Councilmember Mosherek?
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Councilmember Ruiz?
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes, we'll move on to resolutions. Number 1, please.
Authorizing 13 payments.
Is there a motion?
So moved. Support.
Mayor Pro Tem Archibald, supported by Councilmember Ashford. Is there any questions on any of the payments? We'll take the vote.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Councilmember Mosrak?
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Councilmember Ruiz?
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford?
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes, item 2 under resolutions.
Adopting the City of Port Huron 2021 Transportation and Pavement Asset Management Plans.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Councilmember Lamb, is there a second?
Support.
Madam-
Councilmember Pemberton.
Madam Mayor and Council, if you're looking for some riveting reading, I have just the thing. This asset management plan is very in-depth. We don't just go fix a road, or we just don't pave over a road when we think it's going bad. There's a detailed strategy to asset management, to preventative maintenance, crack sealing, chip sealing, micro overlays, complete reconstruction. There's also methodology in how we do it, how we prioritize our roads, and that's covered in this action item and also in the next action item. They're very detailed. They will be uploaded to porthuron.org/open-government, so every citizen can read about the qualities of pavement management measures like chip sealing and crack sealing and everything else we do. These are statutorily required under Act 51 for funding.
Any questions?
Oh, just only that we have Pacer is a part of this, and that's what we've been following as a tool.
Correct. Correct. I always tell people we use data, not politics, when choosing which roads get completed.
Right.
And we use that PACER evaluation in conjunction with all of these tools and resources as well.
Thank you.
Is there any other questions? We will take the vote.
Councilmember Mosrak?
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Councilmember Ruiz?
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford?
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes, item 3.
Approving the agreement with Aramosa International Incorporated for professional engineering services for the programmable logic controllers replacement and upgrade project at the water filtration plant.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Councilmember Ashford, is
Support.
there a second?
Support.
Yeah, I was going to say, no. Councilmember Ruiz. Sometimes the voices fool me. So,
Madam Mayor and Council, you guys authorized us to engage with this firm on the evaluation of these controllers. This is how the plant communicates, whether it's the filters or the pumps, how everything communicates and keeps telemetry between each other. They are at their end of life, so we'll need to design a new system, and that's what these folks are going to do.
any questions? We'll take the vote.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Councilmember Ruiz?
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford?
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Councilmember Mosrak?
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes. Move on to item 4.
Accepting the donation from the Hannah R. Winkler Memorial Fund in the amount of $20,000 over a 3-year period to purchase and install a new pavilion at Gratiot Park.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Councilmember Lamb, is there a second?
Support.
Councilmember Mosrak. I understand that Nancy, the family is here tonight as well.
Mayor Rep and City Council, I'm so excited for this generous donation at Gratiot Park from the Winkler family, who's sitting in the back right there. We're so appreciative of them putting in this pavilion for their daughter in memory of her, and with their foundation. They also wanted to pass the bill. This kind of came about in a pretty cool way just because of partnerships. Now, while we have the folks from Michigan Rehabilitation Services here as well, Karen and Amelie, who have worked really hard on this project to make a fully inclusional park for kids of all abilities. So they put on the walk in October, and that's where the Winkler family heard about the project, and they're going to be doing this walk for every single year to come up with more equipment, again, to as new things come available. And we really appreciate their support as well, because without them, we wouldn't have hooked up with the Winkler family. And for the Winkler family to believe in our project this much and to want to do this great thing for their daughter, who's so lovely. If you read and go on our foundation site, it's just beautiful, and it's a beautiful testament to her. I know that she had some illness for a long time and really wanted to help kids, and they really fell in love with this Pavilion project, because we went to went to RESA and a bunch of places to talk to parents to see what kids of all abilities would like to see, and one of the biggest things with medication and that was a shade of some sort. So for them to come through with this for us, and we really appreciate it, and it's going to make a lot of people very happy. So I want to thank them again, thank again MRS for their dedication and to this great project in the city of Port Huron. So thank you.
Thank you. Would either one of you from the Winkler family like to say a few words? I'm not going to put you on the spot if you don't. But
Hi, my name is Elizabeth Ozello, and I'm actually Hannah's sister. And so we formed this fund 2 years ago after Hannah passed away. She had a disability that she was diagnosed with when she was 13, invisible disability, pulmonary hypertension. And she actually had a long stay in the ICU after an open heart surgery. And due to a lot of complications, she ended up passing away December 26th, the day after Christmas. So the way that our family has chosen to deal with this, because she was a wonderful, loving girl, is to do something in her memory. And she was a Port Huron graduate. She went to Central Middle School, and she graduated from St. Clair County Community College with a degree in early childhood education. She was Miss Teen Detroit 2015, and she just had a lot of spunk about her. And so we want to continue doing things like this. She advocated for invisible disabilities. So doing anything along these lines and helping kids in the area have a fully inclusive playground is something that we're passionate about. And then we've also given out 4 so far scholarships to local students who are attending St. Clair County Community College. So we just wanted to let you know a little bit about her, and we really hope that this is a partnership that we can continue year after year. We do golf outing. We had our first one last year, and we have one already scheduled for this summer, and it was more successful than we could have hoped for. So we're hoping to continue with things like this and providing different types of equipment throughout the year. So thank you.
Well, thank you so much. She's a beautiful girl.
I was going to say
Thank
that,
you.
Colleen. She is beautiful,
Yep.
isn't she? Yeah.
And I understand inside and out, so thank you very much.
Beautiful legacy.
Let's take the vote.
Councilmember Ruiz?
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford?
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Councilmember Mosherak?
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes, item 5.
Adopting a revised schedule of fees effective January 1st, 2022 for various sections of the Code of Ordinances and other user-specific fees.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Mayor Pro Tem Archibald, supported by Councilmember Ashford. Can you just highlight those things that were changed, please?
Yes, most notably is the foreclosed vacant abandoned property fees for inspections. That corresponds with our ordinance changes from a few months ago. But beyond that, we kept.
Looks like there was too many
Nope.
changes, so.
Nope.
Any questions? We'll take the vote.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford?
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Councilmember Mosherak?
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Councilmember Ruiz?
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes, item 10, please.
Approving the agreement with Partners in Architecture, PLC, for professional architectural and design services for the proposed fire station at White Park and minor renovations at the Sanborn Street Fire Station Number 3.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Councilmember
Support.
Mosherak, It's first. Yeah, Councilmember Lamb. You're kind of back in there. I wasn't quite sure. Okay.
Madam Mayor and Council, as I said, this is for a proposed possible fire station at White Park. This design and architectural contract will allow us to assemble the documents needed to bid, more good cost estimates that will provide you with the actionable intelligence you will need to make a decision in the coming summer on what you want to do. This is a natural progression that we've been working on for the last 3 years, and so this will correspond with that.
Any questions? We will take the vote.
Councilmember Ashford?
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Councilmember Mosrak?
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Councilmember Ruiz?
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes. We'll move on to ordinances number 2, please.
An ordinance to amend Chapter 52 zoning, Article 3, District Regulations, Division 1, generally Section 52-162 map of the Port Huron Code of Ordinances to rezone the property generally described as 3400 vacant lot Military Street from an A1 zoning district to a C1 zoning district.
Is there a motion?
So moved. Support.
Councilmember Pemberton, supported by Mayor Pro Tem Archibald.
Madam Mayor, on this ordinance and the next ordinance, they correspond with each other. This is contiguous property to the current site. It really is a testament to the Smith family and what good neighbors they are to the neighborhood. The Planning Commission did meet on this. We did mail out notifications to all the surrounding neighbors. There was not outcry. There was not pushback. You guys have done a wonderful job of running your business close to families and close to people's homes. And I personally just like driving by, and it just physically looks nice. You keep the property nice. It's nice brick, and it's a beautiful building. So really, this has full support of the administration, but really the fact that the neighborhood overwhelmingly seems to support this by their mere absence tonight, it really is a testament to what good community stakeholders and supporters you are of that neighborhood. So we appreciate your continued investment in our community, truly.
Any questions?
No, I'd just like to ditto the city manager's comments.
Yes, absolutely.
It's really a testament to our city to have, people like you with businesses coming forth and investing in our city and holding your own, and just look forward to all the changes that you're going to make and the people you're going to hire, and wish you the very best moving forward.
Certainly do like it when people invest more money in our city, so thank you very much.
We look forward to taxing it.
We look forward to taxing it, yes. I didn't say it quite that crassly. Is there we'll take the vote, please.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Councilmember Mosrak?
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Councilmember Ruiz?
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford?
Yes.
Mayor Rep.
Yes, number 3 under ordinances, please.
An ordinance to amend Chapter 52 zoning, Article 3, District Regulations, Division 1, generally Section 52-162 map of the Port Huron Code of Ordinances to rezone the property generally described as 3423 Military Street from an A1 zoning district to a C1 zoning district.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
It's just reverse this time. Mayor Pro Tem Archibald, supported by Councilmember Pemberton. And I would doubt there's any questions because it goes along
Mayor Rep,
with
I do have
previous
one quick one, just because I didn't get it in time on the last one. I just wanted to clarify, James said this went before planning. There was no opposition at planning either?
It was, the only question they had is about a home across the street, but beyond that, it was fine.
I was there for the Planning Commission meeting, Mayor Rep. There was one neighbor across the street. He, I think, was more surprised than anything when he heard about it. And Jerry actually was there, Kramer, and apologized to him for not communicating to him about the properties. And the Smiths ended up talking to him quite a bit, and he wasn't overly upset or anything. Just was confused as to what was going to happen, and because there's a house that's going to, be torn down on that side of the street, and so it was a really good communication.
Yeah, he was more worried about his property value,
Yeah.
and with that building next door coming down, and it ended up being probably someone who built a single family home there. And I'm not a real estate agent by any means, but I thought that probably increase his property value. But no, we spoke to him afterward. I invited him over to take a tour of the building, and we're just trying to be good neighbors, like James mentioned earlier. I spoke to a few of the folks actually today about what was going on. Everyone seems to be, I've seen, there's some people that are unsure. I think it's because of the questions around what we're doing, but once you get them answered, people have been pretty much okay with everything, so.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. We will take the vote.
Councilmember Moserak?
Yes.
Councilmember Pemberton?
Yes.
Councilmember Ruiz?
Yes.
Councilmember Archibald?
Yes.
Councilmember Ashford?
Yes.
Councilmember Lamb?
Yes.
Mayor Rep?
Yes, that concludes our regular business, and we don't have another meeting now until January the 10th, 2022. That sounds
Wow.
And the city offices will be closed the 23rd, 24th, 30th, and 31st of December to celebrate the holidays, Christmas and New Year's. And I'd just like to personally thank I want to wish everybody on the...
Thank everybody.
Yeah, thank everybody. Wish everybody on council, my fellow council members and the staff, Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays, and everyone, all of our residents. And I hope that everybody has a safe and joyful holiday season, and certainly a healthy one. And as we're all looking forward to, I hope next year is a far better year for a lot of things. And so hopefully we turn the corner at some point and everyone is safe and healthy. So Merry Christmas. Anyone else have anything to say?
Ditto.
Ditto?
Madam Mayor, if I could, I just want to publicly thank Ed again for his work on the audit. These last, Ed, 8 years now? 8 years we've been doing this. And I know I give all the PowerPoints and the fancy speeches, but you must know behind every slide is Ed preparing the slide, briefing me on the slide. I'm just the Manchurian up here with the PowerPoint. So Ed, I thank you for your work. You should be very proud of what you've accomplished. His own retirement was literally on the line if the pension system collapsed. So he literally, I always joke around when Nancy has like a big purchase, she goes, do you think Ed's upset? And I said, no, he's not upset. And she goes, well, how do you know? I go, because if Ed was upset, he'd be pacing outside my office like he used to do. So we've made a lot of progress. And so I thank you, Ed. You should be very proud of your work. I honestly can say I don't think many of your peers could have done what you did.
We know who does the work.
I know.
We just let him think that he does it.
Anyways, is there a motion to adjourn?
Before I move motion to adjourn, I'd just like to thank Corey, our fire chief, for all his, meeting with us in discussion for the fire station and everything, and making sure we were well aware of what all we needed to do in terms of the design and moving forward in that project. And also, I'd like to comment on the Nancy, the director, the athletic director. That's huge. Our baseball diamonds have just been dead, and to see that, resurrected here tonight is awesome. So I can't wait for that season to come around. And get a senior league, too. I might want to play me some baseball. Are you ready for it?
Yep, I'm ready.
So move.
Meeting adjourned.